Another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited to have my guest back on today. I have back with me Rainetta Jones. She's a good friend, and she's going to be talking about today ancient Atlantis and West Texas, basically. And we've been talking about this for a while. But it's more. The more and more she researches, the more and more she uncovers, and the more and more it looks like there's something seriously there. That it's not just. I mean, she can tell you probably about how sacred the land is and everything like that. So, and a little bit more about my guest. Her bio's in the description, but Rainetta has, experience in the secret space program. She's been an esoteric researcher. She has cybernetics. You have to know her story. You can go back to our past episodes. And yeah, with all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Rainetta, thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
Hey, Rob, thank you for having me. I hope today that I could educate some people about our ancient past, our collective ancient past, and the fact that the ancients did not have the same planetary systems, that the planetary structures of enslavement that we have today, and that the destruction of Atlantis because of their own corruption. And I believe their corruption was an infiltration. I believe their corruption was an infiltration of the same gods that run the planet today and destroyed the ancient world, and then brought about this cycle of death, destruction, and rebirth, and the cycle of sin and salvation. We're not going to be talking about sin and salvation today, but we're going to look at ancient Atlantis from my perspective. And I don't believe that Atlantis was an island a continent island in the middle of the Atlantic. I don't. I believe by the time the story of Atlantis got to Plato, Plato got the end of Atlantis. And I hope I'm not yelling, right? I'm not trying
No, you're
to
good. You're good.
Okay, I just get really excited and then I raise my voice, but I'm not really yelling, okay? So my apologies, except when I'm on my channel, when I'm actually like yelling and screaming and like having fun, because we take this knowledge with, a lot of fun, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so ancient Atlantis, to me, in my perspective, in my travels, in my studying of these ancient structures, and I'm going to prove it to you today using a sequence of events or a series of things you need to look for when you're trying to figure out, hey, what was really going on here? By the time I think the story got to Plato, you got to understand that the Greek Empire is a baby empire. The Roman Empire is even younger, okay? Because people like to think that the Greek Empire is some great, empire that was like long, it spanned a long time. No, these are babies. Greece and Rome are babies compared to the ancient empires. And the ancient empires, they span, if you're looking at Anunnaki, you're looking at empires that were thousands of years old. If you're looking at empires of Atlantis and what Thoth said, you're dealing with kings that rule for hundreds of thousands of years. If their rule was hundreds of thousands of years, it tells you that you're dealing with civilization in the millions of years. You see what I'm saying? So
Oh
when we
yeah, I
look
was
at
just going to say. I wanted to comment real quickly. Right even back to the time when Alexander supposedly, took over. When he invaded Persia, right? That was a big deal back then because that was like a bunch of small Greek city states going up against an empire that had been thousands of years old. And I think he even, if you watch the Oliver Stone film, which I don't know how much truth there is to that, like he even comments. He says we're dealing with a civilization. Like he paid homage to it. Supposedly, he said we're dealing with a civilization that's a lot older than ours. And when you go look into those Babylonian civilizations, that Babylon, I feel has ties back to Sumeria because it's in the same area. So that would be like those Anunnaki priest kings, maybe. But you would know better than me because you know the real history. So I don't know.
yeah,
That's just what I've heard. Like I don't know if that's
no,
right.
no, no, you're not wrong at all. You're not wrong at all. So when we're looking at the Sumerian Babylonian history, they tell you that their gods reigned hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, hundreds of thousands of years. If their reign was hundreds of thousands of years, how old was the civilization? It tells you the civilization was in the millions of years. And this is where we want to get to. We want to get to the knowledge, and I'm going to prove it to you visually in Texas. But Texas is not the only state with this type of architecture. You know, I found it in New Mexico, I found it in Nevada, I found it in Arizona. But today we're going to focus just on Texas and the relationship of Texas to ancient Atlantis. And I'm going to show you why Texas was a part of Atlantis, and two, why Atlantis was not an island. And the reason why Plato, I'm not saying that Plato was wrong, and I'm not saying the Greek historians was wrong, but you have to remember, Greece and Rome are baby civilizations. When we get to the Chinese history, the Chinese emperors were tens of thousands of years. When we get to Hindu kings and the reign of their kings, we're dealing with tens of thousands of years. And we can't just sit back, and don't get me started on the Africans. The Africans are dealing with millions of years and millions, and destruction and rebuilding and destruction and rebuilding and destruction, especially when you get to the southwestern part of Africa. I have shown them that the southwestern part of Africa, when you look at the topography of the soil, you will see that it matches clearly with aerial bombings.
Wow.
When you look at aerial bombings from World War II, and as far as we know, there were no aerial bombings in modern history in Southern Africa. But what we do find in Southern Africa are gold mines, and those gold mines found by the University of Johannesburg was 250,000 years, 250,000 years. When we get to the nuclear reactor in Gabon, West Africa, what do we find in West Africa? We find a nuclear reactor that is over 1 billion years old.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes. And not only that, we find the vitrified glass. Okay, let's go there. We find the vitrified glass in North Africa. And in order to get vitrified glass, there must be what? A nuclear explosion.
And what is it? That's Sodom and Gomorrah, right? You think that from what the Bible tells us, it's Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's not. It wasn't really Sodom and Gomorrah. That's just the area. There might have been a nuclear explosion there, right? From what people say.
From the Hindus, we know from the Hindus, because the Hindus have one of the oldest texts of ancient history that's still standing. The Tibetans are the second. The Africans have the third, in that they kept theirs as oral history. And this is why when the Western rulers colonized Africa, they made it an order to exterminate the libraries. The libraries were passed on orally. So what they did is they labeled all of the gatekeepers, the oracles of African history, they labeled them witches and warlocks, and they had a pogrom to exterminate them. Why? Because they kept the ancient knowledge. Now, it was much more difficult to do that with the Tibetans. It was much more difficult to do that with the Hindus, much younger than the Africans, in that they still had the standing temples.
Yeah.
You understand? And the temples, the Tibetan temples and the temples of India are in physical form the Vimanas, the space arcs. Look at the temples in India. Those are not buildings. Those are Vimanas and space arcs and motherships carved into stone, which was the ancient writing system of the ancient world, right? And that's what we're going to go into today. Is everyone following?
Yeah, this is great.
So let's tie out ancient Hindu factology that they call mythology. There's no such thing, because I'm going to prove it to you today. The ancient Hindu factology, aka Western mythology, right? We know that in their writings, they said that there was a nuclear war on this planet. We can prove the nuclear war in Africa. We can prove the nuclear reactor in Gabon. We can prove the detonation in North Africa. And we can look at Southwest Africa, and we can see the aerial bombing campaigns that was done to destroy the advanced civilization in Southern Africa. I believe the same thing happened in the desert Southwest of the United States that caused the desert Southwest to go from green into desert. And we're going to take a look at it. We're going to take a look at some of that today. Is that okay?
I got one question. Why do you think they went through so much? Do you think they just the historians are ignorant, or do you think they went through? There's been a concerted effort to like hide this and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, I don't believe it's the historians at fault. I believe it's the religious institution at fault. We're dealing with an ancient war between two brothers. And these two brothers, one was rightfully given the throne and the other one usurped the throne. When we go throughout the planet, we see this ancient war between these two brothers, Enlil, Enki, Quetzalcoatl, Tezcatlipoca, Yahweh, and Satan, or Jesus and Satan. We see this war between two brothers, and yes, Jesus and Satan are brothers. We see this war all throughout the planet, all over the planet. Why is it that if we go to Native America, if we go to Mesoamerica, we hear of the war of these two brothers? When we go to the Middle East, we hear of the war of these two brothers. We go to Africa, we hear of the war, not of two brothers, but of three brothers. There's a missing brother there. The Africans speak about three brothers and the war that took place between the three of them because of how the father, and this was taught to me, this knowledge was given to me, how the father distributed the power and who was the rightful one to rule the planet, meaning who the kingship was passed to. So the Africans speak of three brothers. We go to Asia, we hear of the war with the two brothers. So what does that tell you? Now, when we study the two brothers across this planet, what do we find out? We find out there was one brother who believed that humanity was capable of self-determination. Yeah, meaning they could plot their own course. You give them free will, you give them the tools, they would elevate themselves, right? And take the planet to 5D, as some people say, right? Then we have the other brother who said, no, humanity is incapable of self-governance, which is what we're under today. And that brother brought in the draconian system of religion. And that draconian system of religion, which causes every civilization to collapse. It has caused, let me say that again, every civilization to collapse. And this is what I believe brought the collapse of Atlantis, right? What was that system? Blood sacrifice. Yeah. And this is why I'm vehemently opposed to blood sacrifice. When you look at the fall and the destruction of every civilization, these truthers like to tell you it's a political issue. Bullshit, excuse my language, and fuckery. Excuse my language even more. No, the destruction of a civilization is when the people lose all compassion for life itself and they begin to shed blood. On what they classify as unrestricted warfare, meaning there is no morality and no restraint when it comes to the sacredness of life. Go ahead.
I got a question about that. Do you think some cultures were tricked into blood sacrifice? Like I know some people talk about the Mayans, for example, were like they they had their god Quetzalcoatl, which but then they were tricked. I heard they were tricked by another god, one that they called God El or something like that. And supposedly he was convincing them that for their crops to grow or for this to happen or for them to have like everyday life, that they had to give blood sacrifice. Is that true?
Yes. That was actually, it wasn't Quetzalcoatl. They lied on Quetzalcoatl. It was Tezcatlipoca. And Tezcatlipoca was the one who brought in the blood sacrifice under the Jaguar gods. And the Jaguar gods were the ones, and we're going to take a look at that. The Jaguar gods were the ones that demanded that blood sacrifice. Now, we know in part of the writings from Atlantis regarding Plato, this is what they said. They said that the people turned away from divine spirituality and they started to shed blood, listen carefully, which brought horrible beasts upon the earth. Okay? And it brought horrible beasts, they said, from another dimension into this dimension. I don't think the Black Panther, in particular the African Panther gods, I don't think it's that African Panther gods. I think they're talking about the Mesoamerican Panther gods. Because the African Panther gods are a little bit different. They're the ones who crown kings. Okay? So their roles are a little bit different. The Panther gods, and you would find the Panther gods in Central Africa. And funny enough, they call African Americans children of the Panther. The Africans call the African Americans children of the Panther. Okay, but the Mesoamerican Panther gods were the ones who demanded a religious system of blood sacrifice. Whereas the African Panther gods were the ones who crowned kings. And that panther, the panther god, the leopard god, but it's mainly the panther, that particular panther gods is what they named African Americans after. Okay, and they twisted that into something derogatory. No, the original meaning was they called African Americans the children of the Panther people, because that's how Africans named. Now it was taken into something derogatory, and I'm not going there with that. Okay, because I don't mess with calling people derogatory names and all that foolishness. That's for children.
I got a good question. I was going to say, is it similar to how sometimes the serpent is misunderstood? Like if you look at like a lot of like writings about Enki or whatever, I think I'm referring like to Chris Hardy's Wars of the Anunnaki. She says that like Enki's serpent knowledge was like, you know, like a divine brotherhood that was like passed on to the mystery schools. But then like in other cultures, the serpent is looked at as like maybe evil. You know what I mean? Like, but like some it means knowledge, some it means evil. Like, what do you feel about that? And like, do you is that similar to what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And what I will say is this: you always have to remember when they change, and I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but when they change the ancient grid. Okay, the ancient grid was a fractal grid. I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but later on in later lives, I'll explain all of this. When they destroyed Atlantis, they destroyed the ancient fractal grid. They took apart the ancient fractal grid that was used to create all life, and they gave us a binary system, a system where you only have two choices. The binary system, where you only have two choices, is not the ancient grid, which is a fractal grid. In that two choices is a series of zeros and ones. In terms of the color spectrum, they give you light and darkness. So when the ancients, the Anunnaki, Elohim, demoniacs, when they came here, the first order of the day was infiltration to understand how this planet was operating. After they learned how this planet operated, and I believe it's the Elohim that did this, they understood that this planet was held together by a fractal grid run on a fractal computer. I'm going to answer a question. They brought about the system, the binary system. Now, what does that mean in terms of the serpent? Now, the serpent in the ancient world had two meanings. The serpent could do two things. The serpent could, one, bite you, envenomate you, and kill you. In the book of Exodus, we see that Thutmose, I don't know who Moses is because Moses never existed, but Thutmose did. We see that Thutmose held up when the people were being bitten by the serpent. We see the Egyptian Thutmose, let me stress, the Egyptian Thutmose hold up the bronze serpent, and that bronze serpent healed the people who were bitten by the serpent. What does that mean? It tells us that with the binary fractal system, when they removed all the other colors and left you with two options, you end up with gods that are dual in nature. This is where we get the duality, and this is where they brought in their Masonic checkerboard. And this is where they give you two options two wicked demonic options as a choice. Why is that important? That's important because we had multiple options, multiple hierarchy of spirit, and we could do way more under a fractal computer run on a fractal grid. When they destroyed that and brought in the binary system, we get a serpent that has two heads. You get bitten and die, or you get bitten and healed. Did that help?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So it all goes back to the computer that ran Atlantis, which was a fractal computer, which emanated, it was luminous in that you could create absolutely anything based upon a fractal grid. That is what kept Atlantis as a global civilization. They got destroyed, and then they gave us a binary system. And I know much of the tribes of the world, their esotericism, their spirituality and cosmology is binary. Binary is not the oldest. It really isn't. It is the fractal grid and the fractal computer that's the oldest. And we're going to take a look at that today. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so first, before we get started, we're going to look at this word. Okay, we're going to look at the word pantheon. Okay, it's important for us to look at the word pantheon. Hold on. Okay, it's important for us to look at the word pantheon because all of this is dealing with the ancient world and it's going to answer some of your questions. Okay, yeah, Ophiuchus the snake. Why is the word pantheon so important, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to make this screen bigger. Let me know if I need to make it a little bit bigger, all right? Okay, so the word pantheon means multiple gods, all the gods of a group of people, right? We can agree that pantheon means this, right? But when you break down the word pan, the, and on, Pan, some would say Pan was a goat-headed god. Yes, Pan was a goat-headed god, and we're going to look into that goat-headed god today. But Pan, the word Pan is actually Greek. Later derivation of the word Pan would be Latin. So the origin of the word comes from the Greek pantheon, pantheos, and later we get the Latin definition of Pan. Pan means bread. We're going back to the origin of things here. Pan means bread. Okay, so pan in Latin.
Want to get paid today?
Okay, watch this. It means the whole or all. Okay. Pan was also a god of shepherd and the woods. And Pan Latin word panis for bread. Okay. Now, the, T-H-E, the infix of the word pan, on, is where we get the word gods, theos. Okay. And On is a temple in Egypt, an Egyptian temple where the gods dwelled. So we're dealing with a word, warrior. I really don't care if you don't believe that Jesus and Satan were brothers. I don't. I really don't. But I'll say this. In fact, I don't care. So pantheon, pan is bread. I'm not here to undo anyone's religious programming. I'm an anti-grammar, okay? I break programming. If you want to hold on to your programming, go ahead. That has nothing to do with me. Pan, bread, the is gods, on is a temple. Pantheon, okay? So the meaning of the word is pantheon, multiple gods. But when you break down the word, it literally means bread of God in the temple. Why is this important? Because all religion starts with the bread of God. You follow it?
Yeah.
So when you look at the ancient world, today's topic is ancient Atlantis. In particular, we're looking at the ancient gods. Why is this important? You know, Jordan Maxwell said, and religious people came after him brutally. He said, listen, it's not a zodiac, it is a zodiac because you're ruled by animals.
Reptilians, right? Like maybe bro, he thought we were ruled by real reptilians. Like,
yeah, but not just reptilians. Reptilians were one. I'm about to show you all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm about to show you. Yeah. So
I mean, you know this. It goes back to Credo Mutwa with the reptilians, right? He knew.
But that's one.
Yeah.
But that's one, right? That's one. We're talking about the pantheon.
Multiple. Okay.
Bingo. And we're talking about how the planet was set up before the destruction. Right?
Wow,
So in order to, bam, exactly. Hadi, thank you. Pan, panis, bread. Why is bread associated with the God? Because bread and God equals life. The bread of life. Jesus, Jason, thank you. Is that why bread symbolizes Jesus's body? Because you can't separate bread, the body of God, the gods, and life. They go together. Pantheon, right? Okay, so we start there, and let's show you in West Texas, the bread. My bread just disappeared. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Hold on. Okay, I can't believe they just disappeared this. That's okay. I'm going to pull it up. That's crazy because I had my photos saved and now the photos, they just deleted the photo out. Oh, here we go. I have to read it by. Okay, this is an ancient rock in West Texas.
Wow.
Do you see?
It doesn't look like it would be somewhere in West Texas. That looks something more ancient, right? It looks.
Yeah.
To me, it does at least. I don't know. That's kind of like
what West Texas. This is West Texas, Brewster County. You have to get past Brewster County. I can tell you exactly where it is. We're going back to Pantheon. Do you see a gigantic mitten? And I am not the one. Let me make this clear. I am not the one who found this revelation. Let me make this clear. I am not the one who found this revelation. Okay? Let me make this clear. Is everyone following?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
When I did the first excursion, the person that was with me was the one who found this revelation. Okay? Now I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain to you. Why is this important? Okay? Because remember, when you're dealing with the ancient world, let me explain first of all, let me give credit, and I'm not going to say their name, but when I did the second excursion, we went to this new area where there were Boulder people, and this person said, oh my God, that's a mitten, and there's something on top of it that looks like bread. I said, it could be a sarcophagus. Actually, it's both, because the bread represents the body of the God, and the bread represents life of the God. Pantheon. Do you see the mitten?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you see the mitten at the bottom? That's a oven mitten. I was not the one who found this. I'm merely showing you. Correct?
That's amazing.
Okay. Do you see what looks like hot bread at the top?
Oh my God, it's amazing. Holy heck. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
How does this stuff end up like this? Like, is that do you think that's petrified, or like, was that once a huge oven mitt and bread, or was that just made like that to look like that, or what do you think? Like,
it was made to look like that, but what is the message they're conveying? Okay? What is the message they're conveying? They're conveying that that place was the place of the gods because
Ah,
bread is the key of life. Now, the Atlanteans also had a bread, and their bread looked like the same sun dial that you would find in the ancient Sumerian sun. Isn't that something? Now, let's look at the importance of this, which is an oven mitten and bread, and what it means, right? Watch this. Okay, so this is about the creation story, what they call mythology, which I don't believe is mythology at all. The creation story of the Anunnaki, okay, aka the Elohim, yada, yada, yada. Now, watch what they said. Watch what they said, okay? Okay, the prudent, the most wise among the Anunnaki was he Enki, or Enkai, as the Africans called him, right? Blameless, of clean hands, anointed, observer of the divine statutes. With the bakers, he learned to make bread. With the bakers of Eridu, he made bread. What? Here we see in West Texas a Titan mitten with what looks like bread on top. Why?
I got a question about this. And do you think that was that what that passage you just read? Do you think that's more like what's the metaphorical? Because they say Enki was supposedly a genetic scientist or whatever. So does that mean he was making gods or he was making people? Or is that what that we're supposed to take from that? Or is it more like literally
Yeah,
he was making gods?
that would be Anu who would be making the gods. But that would be maybe demigods. It could be symbolic of making, or an analogy for making, those who were lesser than him. They call humans, they said, humans, you are like the angels.
Yeah, and that would make sense because they picked the kings, right? They picked the exact kings they wanted to rule over the people.
Bingo. And who are the kingmakers? Right? And when you look
Yeah.
at Jesus, they say Christ the King. Jesus was a king, but Jesus was also symbolized in bread. There is nothing, if you miss bread, you're missing the whole ancient world. Now, watch this interesting thing. From the bread, we get this. In the same area, we see what looks like a rock with an ancient astronaut with a jetpack on his back.
Oh my God. Holy shit. That's insane.
I took these photos.
Wow. I mean, I can't believe, this is amazing.
That's why I said, I don't care who wants to argue with me. Okay? You go out there and you do your own work. I'm not here to argue. I don't even care.
Something's going on here. No, I think you stumbled. I mean, like from other past shows we did in this one, like you stumbled on this, not stumbled on. I think you were called to this area. I think you were meant to bring forward this information. Like, it's like you said, those mountains were talking to you, right? Like, so it's like,
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
yeah. So like you were called to this area, It's almost like history wants itself to be brought forward, like the correct history, or
Yes.
from what.
Okay, I want to show you something else. So this is a face who looks like Anu. He kind of looks like Anu. When you look at the depictions of the god Anu, his face matches exactly like Anu. And he has on his back the same thing that astronauts wear on their back. Why is there a rock carved on the side of a mountain with a human face, elongated head, and an astronaut's jetpack on the back of his head?
Wow.
Okay. And this rock is above, higher up from where we see the hand holding the bread.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. All right. So that's a second one. Now, here's what I want you to take a look at, right? Watch this. Let's look for this wood here. Okay, hold on here. I want to show you, I want to draw your attention to this image. I don't know if you can see this image really well, but look at this ancient image. Now, it says here, Enki and Enlil, the two brothers again, flank the gateway to Anu. This is the gateway to Anu, the father at the bottom. But look at the top. Look at the symbol on the top. Okay? Now we're getting into the origin of these symbols. And I believe that the origin of these symbols were Atlantean before the corruption. Okay? Why is it that this symbol clearly matches this? Hold on one second here. It's very difficult to see, but the symbol is here on this mega base. That is an ancient pyramid in the desert Southwest in Texas that is millions of years old. The exact same symbol.
That's amazing.
Very
That's
difficult
amazing.
to see, but we're going to get to this. Before we get to this, we're going to watch a couple of videos because I have something to show you. We're going back to the origin story. Okay? I'm going to mute this so that we can play. This cartoon is called Milo's Return. Okay? I want you to take a look at something. Let me mute the sound. And just to say, we're doing this for educational purposes only. Let me tell you the brief story. This is Kida. Kida is an Atlantean. For those of you who think I'm making any of this up, we know that the movies and cartoons is basically disclosure. Yes, there is propaganda in there. Yes, there are lies in there. But especially cartoons, they use cartoons to disclose the hidden things. This is Kida. Kida, I know Kida's bloodline from the color of her hair and the color of her skin. Kida is black with white hair. That particular race of black women come from the bloodline of the Shebas. The bloodline of the Shebas come from Nimrod. Nimrod's bloodline is pre-Adamic. You've been lied to.
Is Nimrod Marduk too, or is that too confusing to the situation? Like,
I mean, that's a great question. I have to look into that. Okay. I don't want to say yes or no. I have to look into that. But what I'm telling you is what they told you and who they told you was whom. They're lying. It's all lies you've been taught. Okay. Okay. Hadith said in contemporary Egyptian slang, they call bread ish, meaning life. So you guys see, I'm not making any of this up, right? So this cartoon is called Atlantis, Milo's Return. We know that this is a Kida of the bloodline of the Shebas. Why do we know this? Her skin is black, her hair is white. Only the Shebas, okay, not blonde hair, white hair. Only the Shebas have very dark skin with white hair. We know that the Shebas are the oldest female bloodline.
would that be considered like partly like an albino race or something like that?
No. They all have a genetic, all the Shebas are born genetically with white hair, not pale white skin, but white hair, not blonde hair, but white hair.
Yeah.
So in this cartoon, Milo's Return, Kida goes to find the ancient lost Atlantis. Guess where she goes to look? in the desert southwest of the United States.
No way. That's amazing. This is
Okay, let me show you. For those of you who think I'm making this stuff up. All right.
Can we get this cartoon anywhere? Like, to watch? Is this like?
Yeah, you can go watch it. Yeah, you can go watch it online. Okay, so I'll send Rob the list of everything, but I want to move because I know Rob has a lot he has to cover, right? Okay, so Kida and her team, they go to the desert southwest and they find ancient Atlantis in the desert southwest. Okay, let's make this bigger. Okay, let's make this play. And all of a sudden it decides not to play.
That happens to me all the time, yeah.
Okay, all right, so let's make sure that he didn't, hold on. All of a sudden it decides not to play, but I muted it, so that way it's not like, okay, perfect. Watch this. That's the part I want you to see. Let me backtrack. You see that? I want you to take a look at that carefully. They're in the mountains in the desert southwest of the United States, searching for Atlantis. Watch this. Let's backtrack. We're going to watch it through. They were caught by this artifacts hunter, tied up and locked inside of this cave. Inside the cave, they discover that Atlantis was the founding civilization of all the American civilizations that ever existed. Let me say that again.
Wow.
She discovers that Atlanteans were the mother civilization of all the civilizations in the Americas. All of them, all of them, all of them, all of them, all of them. And it was hidden inside of a mountain that had a secret doorway. Okay? You can watch the cartoon yourself. Let's play the cartoon. Let's back up here. This is the artifacts hunter who tied them up, locked them in the cave, and was going to blow the cave after he stole all the artifacts. Okay, let's go. He takes dynamite and he's about to dynamite the cave and kill them inside the cave, okay? She said, we found the evidence that my people, the Atlanteans, founded all the American civilizations, all of them. So he puts the dynamite at the top of the cave, boom, stop there. Does everyone see the cave?
Yes.
Wonderful. Does everyone in your audience see the cave?
You guys all see the cave?
Press 1 if you see the cave.
E. Carter says yes.
Thank you, Destin.
Okay, we're getting a lot of yeses and ones.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, well, hold on. That cave, why is it that I found that cave in the desert southwest?
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's insane. How did you find? That's amazing. I'm blown away. I didn't realize how mind-blowing this was going to be. This is mind-blowing.
Hold on. Would you like a side-by-side? Would you like a side-by-side?
Rainetta, I'm fucking blown away. Honestly, this is amazing work. This is really good work. I don't know how you found this cartoon, but then you found this cave and you matched them up. And like, how did these people know who made the cartoon? I wonder who made the cartoon. We got to find out who these people are and what they know, you know? Like, what do they know? Whoever made this cartoon, you know? Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
That's one. Are you ready for the second revelation?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's close this out. Let's close these out. We're going to get back to all of them. Let's go to the second Atlantean cartoon, which is disclosure. Yes, there's some lies in there,
Well,
but there's a lot of disclosure in there too. So we're looking for the truth amid the lies, right? So this cartoon is called Atlantis, the Lost Empire. So they went searching for Atlantis. They went exactly where I told you guys it was located, which was not under the sea, but you had to go under the sea in a trench. Exactly where I told you guys it was located. They tell you in this cartoon. They come upon Atlantis, right? Okay, Rainetta, you're a fantasist. You're crazy. Okay.
but you were part of the underwater SSP, right? So you would know about
Yes,
this stuff. Like you were
I was.
people that don't know about Rainetta, she was actually a part of the underwater SSP. So
Yes.
she has access to this information.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So now watch this one. This one is Atlantis, the Lost Empire. So they find Atlantis. They find it under the trench, not under the sea, but under a trench in a pocket, an air bubble. Okay. All right. So these artifact hunters find Atlantis and discover that Atlantis is connected to a pyramid. Okay. Connected to a particular crystal. This is what kept Atlantis alive. Okay. So what they did is they wanted to steal the crystal. What ended up happening is when they found, watch this, the Atlantean, I'm going to say this again, the Atlanteans' technology was a stone technology. When you want to understand why Thutmose, I don't know who Moses is, but when you want to understand why Thutmose, when he went to go meet God in Mount Sinai, God wrote the Ten Commandments, which was a shorter derivation of the laws of Ma'at. The laws of Ma'at came from the Atlanteans, their laws, their law book.
The 42 laws of Ma'at, right?
Bingo. So you had the Atlantean laws governing land and sea. Under them, you got the Egyptian. They gave us the laws of Ma'at, and then you end up with Thutmose and the Hebrews, who were Egyptians. I don't know who anybody else is, but the Egyptians and gave you a shorter, constructed version of the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments was not written on paper. Let me say this again. If you want to understand Atlantis, you have to listen to what I'm telling you. The 10 Commandments was not written on paper. It was written in stone. Stone technology. Stone technology. Stone tablets. What do you mean, Rainetta? I mean a tablet, you know, like a tablet. Okay, a tablet, an actual tablet, but it was stone, right? So to understand Atlantis, we have to understand stone, and I'm going to teach you how they wrote. Okay, so we get to the cartoon. In the cartoon, her ancestors are in the stone, which is an African tradition. It is a Mesoamerican tradition. Okay, I'm going to show you. For anyone who wants to challenge me, go ahead. I don't care. Challenge the ancients. I don't have a dog in this fight, right? I'm just here to educate the people so we don't blow ourselves up messing with this technology, right? Freemasons. Freemasons, there's a reason why Freemasons always work with stone. They know the keys. Let's continue. So the artifacts hunter, they discovered Atlantis, they discovered Kedah, and they want to steal the crystal. The crystal gets activated. Okay, the crystal is around Kedah's neck. Okay, Kedah becomes one with the stone, and the stone begins to take over Kedah. Pay attention. Pay attention. Hold on. Sorry, I don't want you to get one, two. Okay. Now, here she is. She's being activated. Notice what happened when she's activated. I'm going to show you this. When she's activated, her eyes glow. To understand when you're dealing with Atlanteans, Atlanteans with the originals whose eyes glowed. Later on, when you get to the Egyptians, when they were mounted by the serpent, the Uraeus, their eyes glowed. Later on, when you ended up with the Mayans and the Aztecs, when they were activated, their eyes glowed. So she's activated, eyes glow. Watch. Now, she gets possessed by the crystal. Watch carefully. The crystals, who are the ancestors in stone, because the Atlanteans use stones. Okay, watch this. The crystal, the stones begin to look for her using rays of light. Now watch this. You see all the stones in the background? All those are ancestors in stone. You cannot understand Atlantis without stone. Now, she's activated, her eyes glow. The crystal takes her over. The ancestors are fully in control of her. Watch carefully. She's walking on water, just like Jesus. She's beginning to walk under the stones. Look at the symbol. The light is guiding her to walk under the sea, underwater. Boom. Does everyone see this symbol?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Does anyone else in the audience see this symbol?
Oh, wait, let me see.
Write one or yes if you see the symbol.
What are we looking for?
Sure. Thank you. The symbol of the stones on the water. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is a cartoon where she gets activated. And she gets activated and she's brought under the ancestral stones. The ancestral stones open up like a flower. Wait, hold on. But this is a cartoon, Rainetta. Okay. Are you sure about that? Why did I find these stones in Texas?
This is amazing. Wow. There's a big face in that one stone too. Do you see that with the eyes? Like I don't know if you can see my mouse, like right here, like right here. If you can see my mouse,
it is a face facing right. Yeah, I know. But an aerial view, the aerial view of the stones. You want a side by side? Let me show you the side by side. Let me show you the side of the stones. Hold on. Do you see it now?
Wow. That's amazing.
On the left are actual stones I took a photo of. On the right is the Atlantean stone. On the left would be the bloodline of Kida, which would be the female, because it is the female who has the crystal who activates the stone. And the reason why the stones are forming a face is because it's the bloodline, the Kida. Why is it this is in a cartoon about Atlantis? This stone is found in Texas.
Wow.
Okay. Now let's watch.
This really is amazing.
Okay. So before we get into the gods, let's watch one final movie. And this one is to show you their writing style. Okay. Okay. This one is The Road to El Dorado. Okay. The Road to El Dorado. And in this one, I'm going to show you, if you want to understand Atlantis, you can't understand it without invisible ink. Okay. Quick synopsis. These Europeans come to the Americas, and these Europeans were looking for Atlantis in the Caribbean. I can go deeper. My last video that I did, I showed you why Atlantis, not Atlantis, I'm sorry. The gold civilization of Atlantis, okay, which is El Dorado, was in the Caribbean. If you read all the historians, they would know that they started the search for El Dorado in the Caribbean, okay? And it was linked to Atlantis. It was an Atlantean civilization, okay? In this cartoon, Disney again, the European Spaniards come to the Caribbean in search of El Dorado. Not Atlantis, but El Dorado.
And you've
There
been
is
to,
no,
for the people that don't know, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we got to preface, you've been to El Dorado. Like one of the
yeah,
first podcasts you've done with me and you've done with James Brink. You first did the first one I saw was you did with James Brink, where you talked about you and James went into your adventures at El Dorado and King Obon, right? I
yes,
just figured that was important to tell everybody, you know.
absolutely, absolutely. Now I'm here to give you hard facts. Hard facts. Okay. So in this cartoon, they come across an ancient civilization that's hidden in rocks again, inside mountains, and they discover the lost city of El Dorado, which is subsequently you have to get through the mountain and through water, which is exactly what I told you guys, right? I never saw this cartoon until like last week. Watch this. One of the priests, he was corrupt. He believed in blood sacrifice. Okay. He wanted El Dorado to be run by blood sacrifice, a religion that practiced blood sacrifice. And he wanted to do everything in his power for this to bring about the religion that was governed by blood sacrifice, which is essentially destroyed it, right? This is why I keep telling you guys, any entity that's asking you for blood is officially destroying your civilization, right? Okay, so here we are. I'm about to show you how they wrote. Is everyone following what I'm trying to tell them? I'm about to show you how the ancients wrote.
Wow.
Okay, let me say that again. I'm about to show you how they wrote. Pay attention. Okay, so here he is. He wants to bring about the blood sacrificing civilization where you sacrifice people to the gods, you shed blood, yada, yada, yada. And he is about to activate the stones. But in order to activate the stones, anyway, let's watch. He's saying, to hell with that sacrifice. He said, how do you sacrifice? Now, watch this. Boom.
That's funny. In their own Mayan codex there or whatever that is. It's like,
right? The writing system. Now, here's what I want you to watch. They're inside of an El Doradoan temple in the Caribbean. Go watch the cartoon again. Now look at the walls. Does everyone see the walls?
it's dark, but I'm trying to, I have an
Do you see
idea,
the
but I can't.
gold? Okay, look at this. You see the gold? Do you see the blue?
Yeah,
Gold, blue, and then you see little patches of gold in the blue. And
yeah.
it's stone walls that they carved into a mountain encoded with a language. Does everyone see this? There's a language encoded into the walls. This is the wall of the inside of a mountain. Can we agree? Does everyone see this? I want to make sure that everyone sees this.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else in the audience? And I appreciate all you guys. Thank you, Tennessee. Anybody else? Thank you, Zuli. Thank you, Alex. Alex said it looks like a code. Okay. Now, this is disclosure for El Dorado. Okay, now watch this. If that is disclosure, what is this? This is a photo I took.
Wow.
Does the side of a canyon in Texas look exactly like a code carved into a wall in a cartoon? Let's do a side by side so you see I'm not making it up. Do you see?
Yeah.
Look at how the architects in the cartoon design the wall. You see a thin line, you see a thinner line in the middle, gold, and then you see what looks like writing, a big space of writing, and then another solid slab. Why is it that you have the exact same thing here? Look. Do you see it?
Yeah.
I took this picture. This is the side of a mountain. Let me open it up and give you a closer look. Look. You see the same line here. You see the writings. You see another line there. You see the writings. Do you see it up here? And they'll tell you this is the side of a mountain. No, what you're looking at, and this is not the side of a mountain, this is a canyon. What you're looking at is the ancient Atlantean writing system. The problem is you're dealing with millions of years of dirt and millions of years of erosion. Okay? Rainetta, I'm still not convinced. Okay. Watch this.
Oh, I'm convinced. I love this. Is amazing.
Okay, now watch this, right? Watch this. So he's about to activate the stones. He kicks the panther priest in. Watch this. Do you see the white light that comes out of the sacrificial fire?
Yeah.
Look at how he wakes up the stones. Pay attention. It goes into his body. Do you see a white light? This is the story of El Dorado. The same activation code is in the cartoons with Atlantis. Watch this.
Wow.
He gets blown back to an ancient stone, which I told you was the ancient computer, the ancient grid. Look at what happens to the stone. Look at this. It goes through his body. Do you see the white light code?
Yeah.
Does everyone see the same lines of Atlantis? I'm going to show it to you. Look, it charges the stone with the white light. Look at that. Does everyone see that?
That's amazing.
Okay, now watch this. Does everyone see the white light?
Oh my God, it's through the rocks. Yeah.
Ah, there you have it. Let's do a side by side.
So, do you think these sites can be activated too? Like,
Yes.
or do you think they?
I know for a fact they can be activated. I don't think,
Wow.
I know. This is why I'm not arguing with anyone telling me anything. Do you see the activation on the left?
Yeah.
Of the priest activating the ancient stone in El Dorado? Do you see the activation on the right of a photo I took? And I'm not being arrogant. I will not argue with anyone. Believe what you want. I am just here to show you the proof. Rainetta, that is not an invisible ink that the Atlanteans used. It could be activated by the priest. It could be activated by the crystal. It could be activated by someone with the ancient genetics wearing the crystal. Let me play. Let me show you. Look at this. The stones get activated. Look at what comes through the stone when an evil person activates. Just like the cartoon Atlantis, an evil Leviathan. Look at this. Gets activated. Okay.
Oh wow.
Look to the stones to your right. Do you see the same activation stone going through the stone? I took this shot. You still don't believe that the ancients wrote with invisible ink? Okay. Let me show you something else. I took this shot of the ancient pyramid. Do you see the eyes of the serpent glowing as he stares at you?
Yes, I do.
Do you see the eyes of the pharaoh as it glows? This eye.
Yeah, and then there's
Part
this
of
eye right here, right?
yes, the eye of the serpent. This is the serpent god here, mounted. Do you see his eyes
wow.
glowing? You don't believe me?
Yeah.
Let me show you more pictures. This is the same shot in red.
Wow. I gotta
You
come to
don't.
this site. This is fascinating.
Do you see the ancient ink that allows them to hide the language in plain sight? When you want to understand Atlantean writing, you must understand that the writing uses invisible ink that's carved into the mountain. Okay, let's look at the invisible ink. One more place, hold on. Oh, I didn't save it. That's okay. Okay, now for us to look at the glowing eyes. Remember, I told you when the entities wake up, when the guardians of Atlantis wake up, the gods and the guardians, both their eyes glow. Do you see the glowing eyes of the wild boar? And Connor was the one that told me the name of the wild boar. It's called Varacha. When they wake up, their eyes glow. Do you see the glowing eyes of the wild boar?
I see it. I see it. Yeah.
Here and here. You're learning to read the ancient Atlantean writing. You're learning to understand ancient Atlantis. Ancient Atlantis, let me explain something to you. It was not a civilization of just humans who were Olympians, okay? It was exactly as Jordan Maxwell said. It is exactly as the Africans said. The Africans said there was a time when the gods lived on earth. The time before time, when the gods walked with men. The baboon god, thank you, D. Warren. When the gods, to distinguish the gods and their children from regular men, the gods had glowing eyes. When we get to Stargate SG-1, when they are taken over by the Goa'uld causes their eyes to glow. Here we see the glowing eyes, and I got pictures galore of glowing eyes. Okay, let me find another one for you where you see the eyes of Isis and Osiris glowing. Hold on one second here. Here, oh, sorry, let me delete this. Here, we see a mountain, the glowing eyes. Do you see the glowing eyes? When you go to Stargate SG-1, when the Goa'uld is in someone's body, it causes their eyes to glow. Here we see the ancient writing style that is telling you this is a mountain of the gods because the eyes glow. So the glowing eyes is one sign you're dealing with the ancient gods. When I say gods, I don't mean God. I just mean what they call gods, okay? Or you're dealing with an ancient guardian, or you're dealing with the son of God. Oh, you don't believe me? Okay, watch this. Okay, you don't believe me that the sign of the gods is glowing eyes. In the Bible, Jesus's eyes are described as shining. Jesus's face shone like the sun, and his clothing became dazzling after he was transfigured on a mountain. Jesus's eyes were described as flames of fire.
Oh, I got one too. Wasn't the birth of Noah, like, like his parents find him and he's a baby and he's glowing, and he goes to Enoch, supposedly Noah's father, and he says, I don't know what, he like confides, he tries to confide with Enoch, and Enoch supposedly in the place with the gods, and he says, I don't know what kind of child I've had, his eyes are glowing, and
His eyes are
something like
glowing.
that. Is
Yes.
that true?
In Stargate SG-1, I have to go back and read those texts, but glowing eyes is always a sign of the gods, of the guardians, also of predators. Glowing eyes is always synonymous with the gods, the guardians, predators, and also parasites. Not everything with glowing eyes are parasites. So the ancients left you Atlantean history and culture of the glowing-eyed gods and guardians in the desert Southwest. That knowledge was then passed on to the Babylonians, Sumerians, the Egyptians, who also said when the Goa'uld was mounted, the serpent, okay, some can be parasitic, others are not. It's not all parasitic. Their eyes glowed. Okay, here we get to the Bible, which is a condensed version and totally misinterpreted and given to the wrong people, if you ask me, but that's my opinion. Here's what it says. The eye is a lamp. If your eyes are a lamp, okay. All right, so there we got to the glowing eyes and we got to the ancient writing system. Now let's get to the gods. Okay, is everyone ready for the gods?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right, let's start first with Khnum. This is the Egyptian goat god. Connor was the one who gave me the name, Khnum. Okay, this is Khnum as depicted by what you call the Egyptians or the Kemites, the goat god. Why is this important? Because before the Egyptians, the Babylonians, Sumerians, there was a civilization on earth that preceded all of them. All people of the earth was represented. Let me stress this again, all the people of the earth was represented in Atlantis. If anyone's telling you that the Atlanteans were a bunch of Caucasians, they're lying. It is not true. Atlantis was represented by all the peoples of earth. This is why you're going to find Atlantis in the Caribbean. You're going to find Atlantis in Africa, west coast of Africa, east coast of Africa. You're going to find on the eastern part of Africa, they're going to call it Mu. Okay. Yeah. When you get to the Pacific side, they're going to call it Lumeria. Okay. When you get to the Atlantis, the renamed Atlantis, which was called the Ethiopian Ocean, you're going to get Atlantis. When you get to North Africa, you're going to get Atlas, the Atlas Mountain. Okay. It was a global civilization. Okay. My hands are itching me. One of the pantheons, one of the greater gods prior to the flood, and I don't want anyone telling me that these are the fallen angels. I do not go by Jewish cosmology. I am not a Jew. I don't care about Jewish cosmology. I care about those who were here before Yahweh destroyed the earth and recreated it and turned it into a blood sacrificing death cult. Okay? That's just me. But you can believe whatever you want. Okay, so this is Khnum. Okay, as depicted by the West Africans, this is the goat god. This is why Jordan Maxwell was right. Jordan Maxwell kept telling you. And in Europe, he's called Pan, Pantheon. Anyway, this is the African goat god. He is part goat, part human. I'm not yelling at anyone. I am not here to change anyone's mind. Believe what you want. There was a world before Yahweh and the Elohim arrived. That is where I am. Okay? Now watch this. Now, whoa, wait, hold on. So who the hell is this? Who is this? Does everyone see him, or do you need me to do a mock-up?
I think I see it, yeah.
All right, let's do a mock-up. Do you see his horn?
Oh, that's amazing, yeah.
That I took this photo. Do you see his eye? His other eye? Do you see his mouth? He actually has gap teeth like me, which is a sign to the African of kingship. Not me, to the Africans. This is his smile. This is his shoulder. I took this shot. Why is there a goat god? Carved, put together, lasered by rocks in Texas. Here he is. Do you see him now?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right
This
there.
is fascinating.
Okay? This is one of the Atlantean gods. Why? Because Creator Mutwa tried to tell you, Jordan Maxwell tried to tell you, and what happened to Creator Mutwa and Jordan Maxwell is that the religious zombies who know nothing besides the programming they're given, and I have to bang them over their heads, okay? There was a world before this world that was created. The Aztecs and the Mayans said there was 5 worlds before. The Africans said there was 7 that was created and then destroyed. I think we're on the 7th one. Not the 7th day, but the 7th
would you say
world that was created and destroyed.
I was going to say, would you say it's all the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam that are the cause of a lot of the problems in the world? Like,
it's not the people. It's not the people.
Yeah, it's not the piece, the religious institutions of, right?
It's the gods. It's the gods. Yeah. It's the gods who want us, a people. I believe that humanity should have morality and restraint. However, it is how these 3 choose to interpret, and then what these entities do is they use one against each other to destroy and to constantly shed blood and kill people. And no, my God is the God. No, my God is the God. No. In ancient
that was done
Atlantis,
on purpose, right? That was done.
Yes, it was done on purpose. Divide and conquer. Okay, in the ancient world, it was clear that the gods and humanity were one. The gods and humanity were one. And I can prove it because in the book of Genesis, your Bible told you. The Elohim came down and said, whoa, wait, hold on. These people are becoming too powerful. Let us go down and do what? Divide their tongues. And this is the origin of divide and conquer. It was brought here by the Elohim. The Elohim did not just divide our tongues. The Elohim divided people according to color. This is why you have these people out here saying Atlantis was all white people. Bullshit. You have them saying that the Egyptians or the Kemites were all black people or were all white people. Bullshit. The ancient world represented all earth humans and all gods at the same time. It was the time when the gods, and I use that word loosely because I ain't worshiping none. But it was the time when the gods lived on the earth with people. It was a time when the gods lived on the earth with people. You're following? Which is what Jordan Maxwell tried to tell people. You're not ruled by a zodiac. You're ruled by a zodiac. And I'm about to prove it to you today. So this is the goat god. Let's get to Hanuman. Hanuman is the monkey god of the Hindu people. But hold on. Here we have an ancient temple in West Texas that looks like a primate. Do you see the ape-like features of this ancient temple that's 1,500 feet in the air, representing Hanuman? Yes, wow. Moses's old depiction was always goat-headed. Yeah. Does everyone see it? 1,500 feet in the air, an ancient temple that mirrored Hanuman. What is Hanuman doing in Texas?
Right? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know. That's crazy. Like, that's like, wow.
What is a temple to Hanuman doing in Texas? Jordan Maxwell told you, you're not ruled by a zodiac. You're ruled by a zodiac. It's a zoo. Thank you, Andromedan. Hanuman should be in India. Wait, hold on. Watch this. You think that's crazy? How about, let's see here. Hold on. I'm going to have to go look for that. 1 second here. some of my photos. Okay, I'll get to that. Let's get to the normal. Okay, where is my damn photos? Let me see. NOMM. Okay, great. Okay, so the normal are the fish gods. Okay, when we look at the Dogon, we know that this is a normal. Look at the glowing eyes of the normal. Do you see the big googly eyes? This is a mountain, by the way, in Texas.
Yeah, and this is and guys, if you don't know the story about the Nomo, for the first time I heard about it was Credo Mutwa talked about him. It's deep in African tradition. They came supposedly, and they introduced themselves to the African people, and they brought technology. Rainetta would know more than me, but I mean that's what I remember from hearing from Credo Mutwa. But how is that in West Texas? That's amazing, that's fascinating.
Okay, now watch this, huh? Watch this. I want to show you something. Don't forget that the Dogon live in the desert, huh? And West Texas is a desert. I want to show you the headgear.
That's
And
interesting.
look at it. Do you see the mounted here, part of the headgear representing the normal? You see it here? Does everyone see it? Okay. This is how we know this is not a mountain. This is a normal. Look at the big googly eyes that glow here. Can everyone affirm that we're seeing the mounted headdress and we're seeing the big googly eyes? Can everyone say that we're seeing this? Okay. All right. Rainetta, that's not a normal, that's a mountain. Okay. So why is it that the Dogon, sorry, I can't make the picture. Let's see if I can make this picture bigger. I'm trying to make this picture bigger. Hold on. Does everyone see the same mounted headdress and the same glowing googly eyes?
Yeah.
When the Dogon do their rituals to empower the normal. Let's look at the mask from the side. Okay? You think I'm making it up? Look at the mounted headdress and look at the white googly eyes. Let's do side by side. This is not a mountain. This is a normal. God. This is not a mountain. This is a normal. Do you see it? I'm so sorry.
I see it. Sure.
Letting me make this. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Do you see it?
Yeah.
And the big white glowing googly eyes, the normal. And why is it that Khnum is on the side of a mountain, Hanuman is on the side of a mountain, or is a mountain? Khnum is a mountain, Hanuman is a mountain, the normal is a mountain. Let's continue. The next god we're going to take a look at is this is another one here. Another normal, a different mountain. Here we see the normal, the big googly eyes and the mounted headdress of the normal. Wait, hold on. The desert doesn't have any water. There was water in this West Texas desert 500 million years ago. Why is there a mountain depicting the normal in the West Texas desert? Because there was a time when the earth was one. The gods walked among men, gave humanity knowledge, gave humanity guardians, which they call today guides, to guide them. This is demonic. What you're saying is demonic. You're telling us to worship the creation. Bullshit. Why is it that the throne of Yahweh represents one human and three animals? If I am telling you bullshit, then take your bullshit to your own God, because your God's throne is represented by three animals and a human. Don't tell me I'm talking nonsense. Go look at the throne of your God. Not only that, the throne of your God had multiple eyes, and the eyes glowed. Why? Because it is consistent with the gods for their eyes to glow. It's in your Bible, right? Okay, so let's get to the next god. The next god is the serpent. Okay? Here is the West Texas desert. This is a hooded viper. Do you see the hooded viper? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, I'll help you. You just can't see because of the size of the mountain. The entire mountain is the viper. Let me show you.
Okay. Yogi's father says, wow, yeah, he sees it. He sees it. Like, I'm having trouble seeing it, but
okay, I'll help you.
Nathan Ebling says, do you see them serpent eyes? Yeah, it says.
Do you see the viper?
Yeah.
Okay. The head is not to the bottom left. The entire mountain is the viper. The entire mountain is the viper. This is its eye.
It's just, yeah, that's huge. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's 10 miles. It's not the bottom left. It's the entire mountain is the viper. Do you see the viper? Do you need me to mark it up?
No, I see it.
All right, let's try this one. Hold on. You get a better view of this one. Let's close this. Do you see the viper?
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
Do you see the mountain? Let me mark it up so you can see. Okay. We're going back to the time when the gods walked the earth, right? Because the gods lived among men and gave the men knowledge. This is why you find, okay. And this is the eye. This is the snout. And then the other eye comes this way because I was at an angle. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, let me move up the markup. And let me add some contrast. Do you see it now?
Wow. Yeah.
You see the eye?
Yeah, I see the other eye now better too. Yeah.
Do you see now the hooded nose?
Yeah.
The snout? Now let me just save it. And let's do a side by side. Now do you see the hooded viper?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Why is there a hooded viper in the desert southwest of the United States that is 10 miles wide?
Wow.
Jordan Maxwell told you, you're not run by a zodiac. You're run by a zodiac. And I am here to tell you that the gods, this is another one in Texas. This is the viper. I'm sorry, this is the cobra. Okay? This is this patchwork is, do you guys see the serpent or do you need me to mark it up?
Well, real quick, the Third Eye Tribe has a question. Third Eye Tribe says, so are we saying these are actual animals or beings that are now in? No, I think what she's saying, Third Eye Tribe, is these were once all beings that walked with man, like the Noma, a fish god, a viper god, a cobra god, a reptilian god, and they all walked amongst man, and they're petrified in this rock. Because this was once Atlantis, so they were making like statues of all this to show.
Yes.
That's where we're at with all this, I think, right? That's what.
Yeah. You got it. However, just a slight change. Some of them became petrified. Some of them, because of the technology. Remember, the Atlanteans used stone technology.
Yeah.
Some of them turned themselves into stone and put their spirits in the stone. Here we see in the desert Southwest, we see 3 vipers and one where the viper, it's not a viper, sorry, I forgot the name of this. Oh my God, this is a snake that's found in the desert Southwest. Hold on. Snake, I forgot the name of this snake, sorry, in desert Southwest USA. Hold on. This is, okay, here we see. Perfect. Let me get a big picture here. Okay, this is perfect. All right, so does everyone see the snake? Rattlesnake, thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you so much, rattlesnake. Okay, here we see 3 rattlesnakes. 1, 2, 3, and then the rattlesnake begins to shapeshift into a man. This is the big one here. If you need me to do a contrast, let me do a contrast so you can see. Okay. Hold on. Nope. Let's do brightness. And let's take down the exposure. I just want you guys to see the shadows. There we go. Do you see the shadows now? Do you see the snake coming out?
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a rattlesnake, okay? All right, now let me put this. I'm going to save this. All right, now we're going to contrast that with an actual rattlesnake in the desert Southwest.
Wow.
Okay. Why is there a titan of a serpent carved in the side of the mountains in the desert Southwest? If I'm making this up, because there was a time when the gods walked among men, and the gods gave humanity guardians to guard the planet and to guard the trajectory of where the human race would go. This is the serpent god. Let's get to the spider. Okay. This was brought to my attention. This is a mountain in the desert Southwest. Let me know if you need me to mark it up. I was trying to figure out what entity this was until I posted it on Facebook and someone showed me, Rainetta, that's a spider. Okay. And that was Sherry, who's very skilled in Native American culture of the southeast of the United States. Okay. Okay. Now look at this mountain. Hold on. And we know the ancients called the spider Utu, the great mother goddess. She was called in Native American culture. You guys see this?
Yeah.
It was called Anansi. The Masons called the spider Jabulon. Do you guys see the multiple eyes on the spider?
Yeah.
Why is there a mountain in Texas that looks just like a spider? Do you see the multiple eyes, or do I need to do a markup? Let me mark it up. Do you see the multiple eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why would Texas have a spider god? Let's get to, this is the other spider god that we discussed here before. This is carved into the mountains. And next to the spider god, we see the red-headed man, the red-headed giant. Here is the beard of the red-headed giant. Here is his nose. Here is his head. So we know that the red-headed giants who were going around eating the people of this area was genetically engineered. Who genetically engineered the red-headed giant? You're looking at it right here. But the natives called this the Thunderbird. We're going to get to the Thunderbird. But why is there a mountain in the desert Southwest that looks like a giant spider? And next to the giant spider, we see the red-headed giants that the natives of this area said was going around eating humans.
You can see the spider clear as day too.
Yep.
You know, it's right here. You can see
the red-headed giant? Do you see the face of the red-headed giant here? His hair, his nose, and his beard? Okay.
Yeah.
So who genetically engineered the red-headed giant? You're looking at who did it right here.
The spider.
The spider.
I just want to say with time check, we've been going about an hour and 40 minutes, but I know you have something else to do at 6 and I have something to do at 6. So maybe we can go to maybe 10 more minutes. What do you think?
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let me move fast. We got to the spider. Okay, let's get to the Thunderbird. Here we have the Thunderbird. Do you see the wings? Follow my mouse.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do you see the wings of the Thunderbird? Do you see his 2 eyes, his nose, and his mouth? This is the Thunderbird. Why is there a mountain carved into a Thunderbird in West Texas if the Thunderbird didn't exist? Okay, let's get to the turtle. The Native Americans said that the North America was carved on a turtle's back. Is that true? Here we see the ancient turtle. Here we see the head of the turtle. Why is there a mountain in Texas with an ancient turtle? Do you see the turtle?
Yeah, I see it.
And these are some of the gods that are found in Texas. This is just Texas. There's way more, and there's way more that I could talk about, but that was enough. Let's wrap it up because I know you have to go. Let's stop sharing the screen. Okay. Any questions?
This was amazing. No, this was amazing. I think people really enjoyed this, you know, and it's amazing research. Like, what do you think is going to happen from this point on? Do you see this do you think people like? I don't know. What do you think? Like, to summarize everything, like,
this is nothing. I didn't show you the real stuff. I just showed you the gods. I'm gonna get it when we do another interview. We're gonna get into the computers. We're gonna get into the deep stuff. Their technology, how they used fractals and light and water to build the structures that we see today, and why this is Atlantis, why the desert Southwest is the mother Atlantis is the mother civilization of the Caribbean, of the desert Southwest, of Africa, all of Africa. And Africa took the worst hit because when that Elohim came here, when that Elohim Anunnaki, same group of terrorists, when they arrived here, they made it a point to bomb Africa and destroy the surface. And this is why the same Anunnaki Elohim group, their descendants, love to say that the Africans had no civilization, which is a lie. Much of it was bombed to the ground. And they were using nukes to do that. We have the residue of the nukes. I mean, aerial campaigns destroying the southern tip of Africa on the western part of Africa. We have the destruction of the Oklo mines and the desert of North Africa, okay, which was all destroyed by a nuclear campaign. They made it a point because the Elohim Anunnaki are racist bastards. And in order for them to set up their racist system of their racist binary system with whites at the top, everyone with color at the bottom, they had to change the ancient computer, which was a fractal computer. They had to change mathematics in and of itself and bring you Anunnaki Elohim mathematics. They had to change the grid to a binary grid, love or hate. When the ancient grid was powered by love, I know this for a fact. They had to do all of these things, and then they brought a system of division, and they brought a binary system of choice. you have one devil on your left hand or a lesser devil on your right hand, and both of them are devils. They brought in religious division. They brought in, using that binary system, that full system of choice, they brought in duality. And they destroyed the fractal system, which allows for a greater absorption of light into the body. And those light codes are what you call DNA, which they cut down because a fractal grid requires fractal DNA, which they cut down to 2 strands of DNA. Goes back to your whole binary system. And that was done by the racist, demoniac Elohim. And that is why we're seeing a war in the Middle East. I'm the one saying this, no one else. Because what we're seeing is the demonic Elohim at work and the demonic Elohim's children at work. And this is why we're seeing the things that we're seeing. But I'll leave that there. Anyone have any questions?
I just have one comment. Do you feel like they suppress the divine feminine too? Like, as it seems like that, right?
Oh, wait till I show you the ancient queens. Wait till I show, I told you, I haven't even shown you half of it. Wait till I show you the ancient queens and how powerful they are. And they were on an equal level. And I also did a video with you where I showed you that Isis and Osiris are the original creators of the human race, not a male god. A penis cannot create a female. I'm so sorry. I don't care what biology you tell me. A penis requires a vagina. So if there's no vagina in creation, you need to go back and check your God, because it requires a female. And I show you in the ancient world, and when I talk ancient, I'm not talking about ancient as in Greece. I'm not talking ancient as in Rome. Those are baby civilizations. I'm not even talking about ancient as in Sumerian Babylon. That's baby too. I'm talking about ancient as in Atlantis. And when I show you the system of Atlantis, and they tell you, oh, Atlantis was ruled by Poseidon. No. By the time Atlantis got to Plato, okay, it was the end of Atlantis. I am showing you the origin story. And in the original origin story was male and female in love that created the human race. We have it carved into the mountain in Texas. These mountains are over 100, these mountains are over, let me backtrack. The water that was here 500 million years ago. These mountains have been here for tens of millions. Some of the mountains I showed you was between 30 to 130 million years. You've been historically lied to. The earth was given to male and female to create the human race. Let me say that again. It is carved into the mountains in West Texas. I don't care what your religious script tells you. It was male and female that created the human race in Texas, and I can prove it to you, carved into the mountains in stone.
Wow. Well, I'd love to do another show in November if you want to. You know, we can do it for any time in November. I'll message you, and because I can't wait to hear the rest. This is fascinating. This is really amazing. Thank you, Rainetta. This is awesome.
You're welcome. Also, we're starting the tour. We're putting together everything for the tours in the Desert Southwest. It's going to be James and I. And once we have everything up and running, we're going to be doing the interview, so that way we can get the people together to come to these sites, see these sites, not only just see them. I have interacted with these sites. I've interacted with the ancient pyramid. I am telling you, it will change your brain and your body.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, I hope you guys promote it. Anything I can do to help. It's.
I would love for you to come.
Yeah, I would like to come. I definitely want to see it myself. I think I need to.
No, I think you need to too. Yeah, I think you need to. Like, seriously, like, you see, but not just see it, guys. I'm not telling you see this. I interacted with these rocks. Some of them are alive, and they interact with you. Like, usually, I can't sit in front of a computer because of the technology they put in my body. They used to torture me. These rocks will blast some of this technology out. I mean, let me just leave that there. You guys should come and experience it yourself.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell everybody how they can work with you and all that stuff, and anything you want to promote? And thank you again. This was awesome.
Yeah, right now, the only thing I'm promoting is the excursion, the Atlantean Tour, Titans of Atlantis Tour for 2025. The website is under construction. We're working on it. That's the only thing I'm promoting. So I would love for everyone to join us. You're not just going to be going and staring at mountains. You're going to go and you're going to experience it yourself.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. We should all try to do it, guys. We should all try to save up and go. And, it's good people that are involved. It's Rainetta and James Rink. So, like you'll get to meet them and you'll get to maybe meet me and, it'll, cause I'm going to try to go for sure. So yeah, let's all try to do this. And, we'll just keep doing interviews up until it, you know what I mean? Maybe we can do one every month or whatever,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Rainetta. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll have another video for you guys tomorrow. Take care, guys.